it's easy to revert to your old human stuff. You getting in your really high-powered, really well-engineered vehicle, and as you're slipping into the seat, your father's standing at the door and saying to you, you need to help this engine. You might need to get under the hood and push some pistons. Because frankly, it just looks lazy to me for you to just sit there with your hands on the wheel. Far too lazy. When I was your age, I went to school and I pulled a sled behind me and it was uphill both ways. And you've got it way too easy. Do you want to use the laws to your advantage? Airplanes fly because they've figured out how to use the physics of this world in a way that is sustainable. So those airplanes fly and they don't struggle to do it because they are going with the flow and dynamics of the physics of your world. And so that's all we're asking of you. We're just asking you to pay attention to what influence you're under. Esther has some dash cards that, well, she made dash cards because she didn't think you should put a bumper sticker on your car that says under the influence. And it reflects in the window, in the windshield of your car, and it says under the influence, because it's nice to think about, am I under the influence of source or my father? And sometimes there's not a difference. Sometimes your father is believing in you. Sometimes your father is looking at the whole of you. Sometimes your father knows who you are, but not always. And so you have to pay attention to what you're under the influence of, inner being or father. And here's the thing about being under the influence of father. Now you got to worry about what father's under the influence of. Because if father's under the influence of his father or his hard times or his struggle, then he's not guiding you to your best interest. He wants to.
Yeah, so probably he's telling me, he won't tell me that he's proud of me, so probably is that what I'm looking for, you know, his approval.
Yeah, but you're looking for love in all the wrong places there. That's like vacuuming the floor with it not being plugged in. It's like your dad's the vacuum and he's just not picking up any of the mess because he's not plugged in. So he can't give you what you want from him. But that's what fooled you. Sometimes they accidentally get tuned in. And their eyes twinkle and they shine bright and they love you and oh, it feels so good. It feels so good when they like you like that. But they don't sustain it. And then you feel like a puppet that somebody's let go of the strings because it was never his job to be your support system. He was an avenue for you into this body. That's it. And your inner being, who was with you before and with you now and will be with you forever, is there with bright shining eyes, pleased with who you are. So let's talk through this in some practical terms, because we know you all get the concept of this. We know you do. We've talked about it enough. You're feeling resonance with it. We know that you are. Let's talk about a moment in time when you're reaching for something from your father and not getting it. What is a sort of normal, common scenario where that happens?
Okay.
Something can have happened 20 or 30 years ago, and you think about it, you just keep renewing it and bringing it forward, so it's still messing up your vibration today. But whatever's messing up your vibration today, that's what we want to talk about. So if that, not getting a kiss from your father, if you've brought that forward as evidence of his disapproval of you all these years, then that was a good topic for us to discuss, and maybe it is. But is it his disapproval of you or his lack of approval of you that this conversation is about?
I think it's just he telling me that I'm doing a good job, so probably just that.
You want him to approve of you?
Yeah.
Are you feeling unsure? You want him to fill a void for you? Because if you're doing a great job and you know you're doing a great job, he could say you're doing a lousy job and you'd say, I know. I know. These are different times. We have cars now. What you're saying to us is you're seeking approval. You know what that yearning is within you? You're not seeking approval from your father. You're seeking alignment from your source. But father makes you think it's one and the same when he approves. That's the trick that the humans play on each other. Sometimes we say to people, You think that we're trying to get you to not depend on them for love, but we're also saying don't make them dependent upon you for your love, because you put them in traps. When you withhold the goods because of their behavior, or give the goods because of their behavior, when you train them to jump through your hoops, you lure them away from their own guidance system. And you're not always going to be there. In fact, you're hardly ever going to be there. You're not thinking about them all day every day like their inner being is. They're going to go off. They're not even going to live under your roof. They're going to be in different places. You must not teach people to depend upon you for approval. It's not a nice thing to do to a person. It doesn't feel good at all, does it? Because you were always under those conditions, looking for love in all the wrong places. And that's what we mean by the humans that we're making fun of. We love you so much, but you are so conditional. So if someone performs in a certain way and the conditions feel good to you, then you feel good. But if they perform in another way and so the conditions feel bad to you, then it feels like something's gone wrong to you. But the thing that has really gone wrong to you is that you're using that for your guidance. We love them too, but they are fickle. They are fickle, and you know what? They're selfish. And you know what? That's good. Everyone is first and foremost self-advocating. Are you staying with us just a little bit longer? You know why you're self-advocating? Because you have a self, a big self, standing in your vortex, flowing to you, flowing through you, aware of you, always having been aware of you. And most important of all, aware of you now, 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 and knowing who you really are in awareness of who you are. Aware of you now, knowing who you really are. So when you deviate from what your inner being knows of who you really are, you feel disempowered, and then you look to others. I'm good, aren't I? Well, did you do your chores? Did you say your prayers? Yes, then you're good. And you think, how can I be getting that approval when I don't feel good? The way you feel is only and always about your vibrational relationship. It's always about your vibrational mix. Your desires and your beliefs have to be one and the same. When you love, when you are in vibrational alignment with your source energy, you are love. And when you are love, where you look, you see things to love. But if you're human, looking for the reason to love rather than loving and then looking, chiropractor, did you hear us? Can you feel the difference of that? When you have isolated the feeling of satisfaction and more love, you are walking around tuned in, tapped in, turned on to that, and dad is in your vicinity and he doesn't notice something, you won't notice that he didn't notice, because you're not looking to him for that anyway. That was never his job. You're sure and confident, you're energized, you're invincible on your own. And we promise you, when you feel like that, your daddy will follow you there.